What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, a game that I've been waiting quite a while for has finally come out. One of the downsides to having like 700 things on my wish list and having a job where I'm just like tracking down games all the time is that it's like, ooh, piece of candy all the time. There's constantly like these games that I play a demo for and I'm like, that game is sick, dude. I can't wait to play it later on. Finally comes out like 8 months later, a year later, 2 years later, and here we are. That's why I'm constantly saying I'm excited about things, is because I am. I follow so many things that I exist in a constant state of excitement. Today we're going to be checking out the horror at Highbrook. This is not going to be a game that's for everybody. This is definitely a game that's pretty heavily tabletop inspired. Someone on the Steam forums compared it to Mansions of Madness, which is a board game that I happen to have, actually. I have a board game group. We get together every single Saturday and we get kind of trashed and we play board games. We did Catan last weekend where I got my first win in Catan ever in my entire life. I know. Congratulate me. I never win at Catan. Won this time. It was mostly due to my wife, though. We were playing teams. So the horror at Highbrook is kind of like Mansions of Madness meets Cultist Simulator. This is a game about esotericism, but it's also got survival RPG mechanics inside of there where your characters can actually get wounded and die, and they get stronger as you go through your playthrough, and you're investigating a mansion where a nobleman has gone missing in a steampunk universe. Today we're going to play the game for about 30 minutes. We're going to see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or if it's one of those games that's just not for you. I got a link for you down below where you can check it on out. But let's go ahead and check out the game and have a good time with it. Alright, so here we are inside of the mansion. This is I'm gonna have to do a little bit of legwork because basically I'm teaching you how to play a board game right now really quickly before we get started. But we've been sent to this mansion in order to figure out what happened to a nobleman who was toying with dark forces. We will occasionally find notes, we will find journals, things of that nature that are kind of guiding us in the right direction to figure out what happened to him. But we have an investigative team here that's ready to make things work. So as of right now, we have 4 characters that are chilling inside the mansion. We have Dr. Caligar. Dr. Caligar tends to be really good with anything that has to do with alchemy or medicine. We've got Atticus Hawk. He is our local tough guy, so he's good with like combat, hunting, scouting, going out into the woods and finding herbs and things like that. He's basically our Aragorn, all right? We've got Scholar Vitali. He does exactly what it says on the tin. He's really good at anything that has to do with investigation or puzzle solving or esotericism. And then we have Mechanist Aster, which is basically the same thing as Vitali, except she's good with anything that has to do with machines. Everything in this game is represented by a card that's going to go inside this large grid over here. They all have various uses. You've got a bunch of meters at the top of the screen for each of these characters that are tracking how wounded they are. So for example, right now, Caligar is like a little tiny bit wounded, a little tiny bit tired, not going insane, which is really nice when you're inside of a haunted mansion. I'd prefer to minimize the amount of insane people we have inside this building. You know, it may be 4,000 square feet, but there's just not enough room for crazy. And then you've got hunger over here because you've actually got to hunt and feed people as you're going along. I've so far found this survival mechanic thing to actually be really positive for the game. In Cultist Simulator, they sort of conceptualize everything down to just an upkeep cost and money that you have to pay every single week, whereas in this game, you've actually got to pick and choose what people are going to be eating and what they're going to be doing with their time. And of course, I forgot to mention the most important member of the cast, Mr. Tubbs. I found Mr. Tubbs in the woods. He came and he moved into the mansion, and now whatever room he's inside of, he gives me support on those tasks. He makes us cook better. He makes us perceive better, I guess. It also looks like he does something good when we get drunk around him, but I haven't really tested that out altogether yet. As it sits right now, I'm about 2 hours into the game. Like an hour and a half, 2 hours was how much I played yesterday getting this ready for a playthrough. We found a few notes that seem to imply that the guy that lived here was using his son as a test guinea pig for a Lovecraftian necklace that was found inside a cavern underneath the building. And he was also working with Occult to find that necklace, but much more than that we don't really know. As far as things we need to get done, everything in this game is fairly simple. There's a lot less exploration to this game than a title like Cultist Simulator, because every card tells you on it exactly where you play it and what you do with it, but you do get a nice loot box feeling from investigating things and not knowing what's going to pop out of them. And so I would say this is one of those games that's good for people that got really lost in the sauce with like the back half of Cultist Simulator, where it gets really intricate and it gets really complex and it takes a lot of randomness and deduction to get through like that last couple hours of Occultist playthrough. Cultist Simulator playthrough. This game is a lot more guided than that, but it's also got those survival mechanics folded on in there to give you some agency and have, you know, a little bit of like meter mating that you have to do. For right now, Aster is tired, so we're going to put her inside the bedroom, and we're just going to go tell her to take a nap because her sleep meter is almost maxed out. Hawk is finding himself hungry, so we're going to put him in the dining room, and we're going to feed him whatever meal is about to expire on us. So there we go, and as you can see, a little meter running along the top. The game does have push pause, by the way. I had it pause that entire time. Once that meter is done, their task will be finished off. For right now, though, what I need to do is I need to investigate this Rune Pot. I found it out in the woods or like out in the garden or something when I was digging out there just looking for herbs so that I could make healing potions and sleep potions and try to find like magical artifacts to make us stronger. So this Rune Pot right here, it requires 2 keys in order to investigate it, and we can investigate it inside of the study. Right now, there's no monsters inside of the study, so now would probably be a good time to pop it off. As time goes along, you will see like ghosts and like random things will happen inside the rooms that may lock you out of them, or they might make them inaccessible, or they'll give like a serious downside to you using that room before the event has ended. Right now we're mostly clear, so I think we're in a pretty good position right now to put Dr. Caligar on studying this. Now Dr. Caligar only has 1 in mysteries, and we need 2 in mysteries. What that means is we're going to need to come down here, we're going to need to use a supplementary item in order to meet that threshold. So I've got all my stuff sorted out right now by what stat they give you so that I can work my way through the investigations more quickly. So in this case, what we'll need to do is we'll need to use tracing charcoal. It's the only thing I have that helps out with mysteries, and so we'll start that on off now that we've met the threshold. Mr. Tubbs hopefully moves around and makes our lives a little bit easier. While we wait, I'll probably have Hawk just search in the courtyard right now with the trowel, just to see what he can find, see what he can make happen. And then we've also got ourselves a document box which can be investigated inside the library. The laboratory. Okay, so let's go up to the laboratory. Is he good at investigating this right here? It requires 3 potions. Does he have potion skill? He does not have potion skills, so we're going to have to wait for Dr. Caligar to get done with her investigation. It looks like she's going to be one at the forefront right now, making sure that all of this stuff gets finished off because she's my only alchemist for the moment. I like to keep things organized. I really appreciate that this game has like organization trays and things like that that you can use. If you're wondering what the composer is, every now and again you're going to find a piece of a sigil or something like that, and you've got to like piece this together, and I don't know what happens when I finish it, but I am hoping we get that done today. We've got a focus fern over here. It looks like the focus fern can be cooked inside of the kitchen. Let's give that a go because the mechanist over here is good at cooking. We've also got a healing sprig, which is nice. Healing sprigs let us make healing potions, although I think I'm capped out on how many things I'm allowed to have with some of these. Yeah, I'm only allowed to have 2 healing potions and 2 dream drafts for right now. I don't know why there's an arbitrary limit on stuff like that. There just is. It's just part of the game. The runes around this kintsugi repaired pot seem to glow faintly like glyphs traced in the embers. Indica Unmat was a respected herbalist known for her exotic and sometimes unorthodox dishes. She claimed that the culinary benefits of the urn derived from the expert selection of spices she kept inside of it. Her competitors were less generous, asserting that many special flavorings came from the mysterious metal that held the shards together. So Unmat's pot looks like it gives us cooking support, actually. And once we unlock the forge, we should be able to upgrade this thing to make it into quite the useful little utility. I don't have anything right now that boosts up my cooking, so I can live with it. We can make oil buds into machine oils. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Oh, good. Mr. Tubbs is helping out with the cooking right now. Thanks, Mr. Tubbs. I've always been a sucker for black cats. I like black cats, especially when they've got, like, the bright yellow or, like, the bright orange eyes. Owl tea, that gives us +1 to keys. We actually don't have anything that boosts up our keys right now, so that's good. We're going to have Caligari come over here to the laboratory, and then we're going to investigate this document box to see what's inside of it. Unfortunately, we need to have 3 potions skill in order to get this done, so I'm going to be using up pretty much all of my potion support right now to complete this investigation, but hey, we'll call it like it is. I've got Raven's Cap going bad over here, but I haven't eaten it yet because it's like a semi-poisonous food that may have other results, and I wasn't sure exactly how it would help out. We do have an echo over here, which is slowly driving the mechanist insane, so let's get her out of the room real fast. Hopefully Mr. Tubbs is immune to the insanity, or hopefully it just gives him the zoomies or something. I don't think cats are really afraid of ghosts, though. I do have the next time somebody wants to sleep, we did get a clue inside the mansion that the nobleman that owned this place was tripping balls on this dream draft right here, which I found the recipe for, and I haven't had anybody drink it and go to bed yet, but I'm guessing that's going to be like an integral part of solving the mystery out here too. With that, it needs to have 1 memories. Yeah, we'll have her search the archives while we wait. No sense like wasting time. Another focus fern? Go search the clifftops and see if you find anything over here. What did we get? Oh, we actually got one of our clues right here. I would guess that probably goes right there. So we need 3 more clues in order to unlock maybe the next chapter. The game's divided up into chapters. Let's see. What does this note say that we pulled out of the document box? Okay, so roughly abridged, this note says that the nobleman was indeed tripping balls on Dreamleaf, which is what we made this potion out of, in order to experience the mythos-infused enlightening powers of the other side. We can send that to our document records. We have like a journal where everything's stored at, so don't worry about it too much. Asked her when she gets done inside the archives, I'd say it's probably a good idea to go feed her some food. If my wife has been any lesson for me there in life, it's that, like, you never want to keep the lady hungry, all right? That's a dangerous place to be in with a hungry wife. And so I'm just sort of extrapolating right now, but I would rather not have her be hungry at the moment. So let's go ahead and feed her a basic meal real quick. There's no ghosts or anything in the room, so we should be all right. He's searching the clifftop. She's done with her investigation, and it looks like he got a tracing charcoal. That's good. I could take a tracing charcoal. That sounds all right to me. And we got a catalytic powder to help out with any, like, potions research that we need to do. That'll work out fairly well, too. Dr. Caligari, can you handle anything over here? Let's just make Fadali throw himself at the library codex real fast, until we run out of interactions anyways, because so far, everything that's kind of moved me forward has at least started inside the codex. I'm going to keep him hunting on the clifftop, because we're all out of meals right now. All we have is alcohol. And that might be okay for the members of the party that are getting a little bit insane, but for right now, I'd rather not be just throwing huge amounts of alcohol at people inside the haunted house. Perhaps we should focus our efforts elsewhere for a little while. Okay. Well, I guess it's time for us to dream. Actually, Hawk needs to do it. Hawk needs to sleep anyways. Hawk, you back? Hey, he caught a meat over here. Nice. We'll put that in there with the cat, and then we'll have her... Ooh, wrong person. We will have her cook that up so that we have an extra meal waiting in the wings, because Vitali's going to be hungry soon-ish. Let's send him over to here, and we will have him use a dream draft, and hopefully it works out okay. Actually, Atticus can't do it. I don't think his third eye is open the same way other people's are, so I guess we'll send Vitali to do it. Good luck with the dreams, man. Hopefully you don't get eaten by an octopus tentacle monster. Okay, so we got a dream over here. The dream of a lost book. The task is focused on imbibing, actually. So whoever's good at drinking, that's probably going to be Hawk, is going to want to take this one. A vision drawn from a dream, hastily recorded on torn notepaper. I'm adrift in the air like a mote of dust suspended in the fragrant air of the dining room. Someone has been drinking, a tired-looking man in a crumpled gown and broken spectacles, Lord Acheron. He sighs, wiping something from his eyes as he places a card on the table in front of a ragged journal. The card is inscribed with some kind of machine code. He places it loosely into the journal and finishes his drink. Stumbling to his feet, he knocks the book from the table. It tumbles to the floor, sliding underneath a nearby cabinet. Okay, so we can take that on inside of the dining room. Who's good at drinking? Sensations. All right, you can do it. Good luck. Anytime you're messing with something from the other side, you never know exactly how it's going to play out. So hopefully this doesn't have lasting consequences. A coded journal was found, which we can now study inside the study. It's going to take 3 keys. I have enough to do it, so let's go ahead and do it. Does she have mysteries investigations? All right, so we need the tracing charcoal, and we're going to need the owl tea to focus our mind. And then we should be able to take that down without too many problems. At the Clifftop, we've got another meal that's come on out. I'm going to go ahead and have her cook that up. I just like to have a lot of extra food laying around because people, they eat really, really frequently. It's not as bad as in some survival games, but in this game, they're going to need to eat pretty frequently, like once or twice a day, so just keep your eye on it. You can see what day you're on. I'm on day 5 right now. I do like the environmental effects that the game has. When you go from daytime to nighttime, it kind of throws shadows in different ways, in interesting ways anyways. I don't know if there's any weather effects or anything, but that'd be a pretty good idea too, where it would like softly snow and you get kind of like white snowfall out here, dressing the tops of the walls, like rain coming down, and then little puddles show up out here, just to keep you thematically tuned on in. We've got another piece of a puzzle. Okay, that's what we're looking for. We have Gideon's note over here. I heard hounds again last night. I couldn't decide if their howling was real or just echoes in my own mind. I've barely slept. Simon's condition is worsening. I want to find a solution either in words or actions. The eye can't close again. I must find a way to blind it while I seek a cure. I can see the key in my dreams, her bifurcated head, that dark gaping maw. But no, I am a seeker now. Even without the ceremony, I will step beyond the threshold. I will compel the instruments of Nibiru to obey me. Okay, and then we've got the chapel code over here, which goes in the machine room. So now that she's done cooking, let's go to the machine room, aka the garage, and see if we can bang this out. We only need to have 2 of the wrenches in order to do that task, so let's just mash that out quick. Hawk is tired, so let's bring him back over here, and we'll give him the night lamp. We'll put him to sleep. She is injured. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, we opened up the chapel. Fair enough, he's sleeping right now. Caligar is saying that she's injured. She does have like a little bit of injury right there. I do have healing doses, I guess. Yeah, I gotta investigate this first. Brother Acheron, we understand that in recovering the tear, your son has been hurt. The tear. It is unfortunate and regrettable, but do not swerve from the path now. The knowledge and power you will acquire will cleanse your son of any ailment, voidborn or otherwise. You must reach further into the inner circles of the unseen twin. Only there will you find the power to heal your son and fortify your family for what is coming. Prepare your summoning chamber, assemble the rite of the opening eye, and first speak the key, the guardian of the first circle. You must pass through the darkness to reach the illumination beyond. Okay. At last, the fog is beginning to clear. The Seekers are trying to contact Nibiru, a mythical domain of cosmic power, an unseen isle that lies hidden beyond the natural time of space. Vitali frowns, looking concerned and excited. Engaging with these histories is enlightening, but it's dangerous. I think we can assume that Gideon has already begun his journey down that path. The chapel has clearly been used for ritualistic practices. She examines the thick oak door. We can assume it was locked to prevent his family from discovering the work. If he was hiding his activities there, then what awaits us in the other sealed chambers? Okay, add that to the record, and then we've got another coded journal that we've got to take a look at, and it looks like we've got to take a look at that inside the study. I'll throw that over there very rapidly. He's almost done sleeping. And we've got another basic meal right there for the future, which is good, because somebody's going to have to eat soon. Yeah, Vitali's probably the next one up. But let's pull him out of his slumber real quick. And now that he's been restored, Caligar needs a rest, so we'll go ahead and throw her in there. And then Aster is probably up next. Everybody's just got to take a turn. We're sleeping through the day right now, dude. 9 a.m. and we're just getting to bed. We have a bunch of party animals out here when it comes to the occult. Let's go. So a couple things that we're going to need in order to make this stuff happen. I need Focus Fern to be converted into tea, I think. But it's about to expire on me, so I don't know if we're going to have time to do it. Can anybody else cook? Do we have anybody that can cook? He can do victuals. All right, you come in here, cook that up and turn it into a tea. It may go bad before we finish off, though. It's kind of hard to say. I think we should be all right. I'm going to keep the meat in there. We've got another tracing charcoal in case we needed to work on keys. And in fact, we do need to work on keys, so I think that'll be all right. When it comes to Mr. Tubbs in the machine room with a wrench, he's the one that did it. Now we have Owl Tea, and so we should be able to take Vitali back into the study. And I think we should be able to grab the journal. He's going to need the 2 supplementary keys, though, in order to get that done. So let's get him high on tea and high on charcoal, and we'll see what pops out of the book from there. Well, a little bit of bad luck. Atticus got trapped in a room right now with a ghost while he's in the middle of a task, so that's probably going to end up with him getting a little bit of insanity. But the good news is we can wipe that out with a little bit of 80 proof. It'll be all right. He was dying. I had no choice. I summoned the key while the veils were still thin, and I demanded that she take him into the Garden of the First Circle. The rot will stop here. He will not worsen. He cannot stay long without protection. He will become ash and wither away. I will raise myself further. I can enter Nibiru of my own volition. I will compel the needle to cure Simon. I will bring him home. Sophia must not know. It is best she believes that I have sent him to a private city infirmary. Once I have returned, she will see the reasoning and the glorious path ahead for all of us. The shadow is cast long across this house, but perhaps there is still time. What has Acheron done? Did he really offer up his own child to an eldritch horror? Real monsters are rotten seekers. It don't matter to me. It's abduction, plain and simple. We must find the boy. I don't care if Gideon is ever seen again. Yes, Atticus, he seems to have made a pact with the communion or the entities that they revere, and to hide this from his wife, arrogance. Sophia Acheron is no idiot, but her intellect is easily a match for her husband's. She won't be fooled. But of more pressing concerns, who is the key? A demon, a seeker, or someone else? If my memory serves me correctly, the key is an instrument of Nibiru, the chief doorkeep of the unseen twin. If Gideon has awoken such an entity, then we will face more fearsome dangers than the communion's thugs. Okay, let's add that to the records just to get it off the board. We have that right there, and then we only need one clue. If anybody is ready to go in and dream, we need somebody with an eyeball over here to go in and take a dream draft and see what comes out from the mysteries of the other side. He's done with his task, but unfortunately he had to hang out. He got a little bit of insanity, not that much. It should be all right. Let's keep him digging in the garden for right now, because I think I'm going to need a few more supplementary herbs before we can call it a day, I think. We got the dream of a monocle. We can investigate it inside the machine room. The shoulders of a tall but crooked man loom over a blinking console somewhere in the machine room. He pokes and prods, turning dials and tapping gauges. An open journal rests on the dirty counter, the intricate symbols on its pages smudged by his fingers as he traces the equations. He grunts and plucks a shiny lens from beneath his furrowed brow, placing it on top of the book. After staring into the dust-filled air, the man rises stiffly from the machine, abandoning the book and the monocle. He stumbles from the room and you awake, the sound of calculating engines still humming in your ears. Sounds like we're going to the machine room. I can't really do anything until Mr. Tubbs leaves, though. He's immovable. He's a very powerful cat, all right? It's a serious volume of cat right there. He's got mass. I'm going to put the pot inside of here just to give me bonuses to cooking. I don't know if it affects anything if the cook doesn't require it, like if you get an additive bonus from having one extra skill. The echo is back, dude. Why is our kitchen so haunted? Like, what happened here? Did somebody just make like a really bad chili? Like a chili so terrible that it cast through the veil of massive terror that allowed ghosts to scream through? I think I would try a chili that bad. I would just need to experience it. Like, I know that it's going to be awful. Like, I'm absolutely going to hate it. But if you made a chili that was so terrible that it tore the fabric of reality, there's a curious part of my brain that's like, yeah, dude, I could try a spoonful. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens here. I can always drink water, hit it with a chaser or something afterwards. I'll take him out of the room now that he's no longer doing anything inside of there. And then we needed to investigate the dream of the monocle. Oh, that's right. Mr. Tubbs is in the way. Damn it, cat. I suppose in the meantime, we can brew up some more dreaming drafts inside of here. I think, oh, Dreamleaf requires 2. Okay. Throw a chemical worksheet in there then. A little bit of the old practicum to get you across the goalpost. There we go. Mr. Tubbs finally moves. Mr. Tubbs kind of giving me PTSD right now because I have a Siamese cat. Her name's Rosalina Augustina Maria Sabina del Corazon de los Santos. Anyway, she's got a long name. It's a very long name. You don't say the whole thing. You just say Rosie. And so she sits on my desk in front of my monitor and stares at me just like this for hours. I don't know why she does it. If you pet her, she doesn't move. If you feed her, she doesn't move. She just sits there and stares you dead in the eye while you're trying to do stuff on the computer, like right in front of the screen. Mr. Tubbs apparently has that running through him too. Machine room is now free, so we can send the mechanist in there, and then we needed to go through the dream of the monocle. What was the requirement on that? Just 2? Okay, that's easy to decipher. And hopefully that'll give us our last clue right about the time we finish up the video and I do my closing thoughts. So this is one of those games that to some people I think is going to be a little bit humdrum, but I do think the correlation to Mansions of Madness is a good one. I got Mansions of Madness this year from a friend of mine for Christmas, and we've been playing it over the last month or two on our Saturday sort of get-togethers, and this game is very, very similar to that. You're going room to room investigating things, threats, monsters, ghosts, that kind of stuff pop up. They cause problems, they cause delays. Overall, I've never been on a time limit in this game so far, whereas in Mansions of Madness, you are definitely on a time limit like 90% of the time. But in the case of this game, there hasn't really been that much pressure, but I'm kind of like nearing the end of Chapter 1. So it's possible that the game will get a lot more aggressive and press up on you as you get further on into the game. My observations from the 2 or 3 hours that I've spent is this is kind of like an abridged narrative version of Cultist Simulator. If you liked Cultist Simulator, but you found it to be unwieldy with regards to the rationality and the logic required in order to guess the next step at certain junction points on various characters' playthroughs, because let's be honest here, in Cultist Simulator, there were a few steps in the main storyline that were difficult to ascertain exactly what you were supposed to do next once you were actually like entering the Mansis and you were starting to interact with the gods and whatnot. It got really confusing at that point what you were supposed to do next, and frequently I kind of felt like sometimes you just had to take a leap of faith. That meant that Cultist Simulator had like these really magical like aha moments as you were playing through that were very dopamine inducing when you finally guessed and figured out the right thing to do after struggling for an hour or so. The trade-off there is going to be that Highrook loses a lot of the mystery and magic of what made Cultist Simulator good in that regard too. So this is kind of like a version of Cultist Simulator that tells you where to go. Everything in this game tells you exactly what you're supposed to do with it and exactly what room it goes into. So if you played Cultist Simulator, but like many other people, you kind of stubbed your toes on the late game logic and got frustrated with it and put it down, this game seems to be kind of a faster, smoother, more explained version of Cultist Simulator that also leans very, very heavily on like the narrative interactions of these characters. And so as they do different tasks, they will write down their thoughts about each other and like past adventures they have, so you get like narrative exposition about all these characters and how they know each other and how they came to be on like this investigative supernatural team. That kind of stuff. I want to see what happens when I put this. Oh! A right to break the threshold of the first circle, a knock on the gates of Nibiru. Draw an arched door on the wall in white chalk. Circumscribe the form in a circle, and at the apex of the arch, draw a 12-pointed star. With your forehead pressed against the star, sing the song of the autumn key. Hold the edges of the frame, stare beyond the wall, eyes wide until the tears drop to the floor. Close your eyes, close your mind, and open the door. The fragments have formed the opening eye, the ritual that the Seekers urged Gideon to complete. It's a window into Nibiru's hidden domain. It might seem foolish, but I think we need to perform the rite to further the investigation. Vitali, are you mad? These evil rites should be burned, not performed. We should look for the Acherons here in the real world. Gideon may have been insane, but we need not follow him into lunacy. I hear you, Atticus, but it's clear that Gideon was determined to carry out the ritual. Perhaps we can find fresh tracks by replicating his actions. If you trusted my judgment during the Keel Fever epidemic, then please remain in step with us now. Aye, Miss Caligar, you pulled me and my boys through that outbreak, and I owe you for it. I'm not happy with Vitali's plan. It's not going to end well, but I'll do as you ask for now. Okay, so this goes to the chapel, where we've got our giant summoning circle. It requires 3 of lips. Incantations. Okay, what does that help out with? That helps out with manuscripts. So I really only have the gift of the snake right now to get me there, so we're gonna need to farm up some stuff in order to do the ritual. But that gives us like a pretty good jump-off point to stop the video, in all honesty. I like this game. I think it's good it's like Cultist Simulator, but it's good for different reasons. This is a much more laid-back playthrough than Cultist Simulator is, while maintaining the same core gameplay and then adding a survival layer to it where you need to keep meters filled up and avoiding like threats and things of that nature. I don't think that it captures that feeling of cutting through esotericism and becoming enlightened in the Mantis the same way Cultist Simulator does, but it does have some extra mechanics, and it is unique compared to pretty much every other game out there. It shares aspects with other titles, but they seem to have made a decently pleasant little narrative adventure that revolves around a board game that you're playing inside of a Clue-like mansion with different skills on different characters and conversations and stuff like that. I enjoyed my time with it. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for stopping on in. This is The Horror at Highrook. I'll catch y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but for now it's time for me to go. Bye, folks.